And we were going to talk about e-commerce today, and
We were
just
going to
how
talk about,
things
yeah,
are so crazy with that, right? And that's one thing I was kind of leading up with networking, building your business, because that's another component. Okay, so look at it. Basically, when I started e-commerce, which I ran for I think over a year,
mm,
but I just got too busy with everything else, so I couldn't get it managed right.
right,
So I shut it down. But I connected with people all around the world. I had suppliers that were in the United States. I had suppliers that were in China,
mm,
right? I didn't have to touch product ever. Okay. They
no
actually
warehouse
would
space,
print it, ship it to my customer,
mm,
and essentially my customer would pay me for the t-shirt, let's say,
mm,
and then I pay the company whatever it is that so I make the difference.
right,
That's how easy e-commerce can be. So you don't even have to have a product in place in your hand to be able to do anything.
mm,
And when a company, especially localized, is starting to look at these avenues, which they are more so than ever, right? And they should be,
mm,
because how else are you going to hit an international? How are you going to get outside marketing
right,
doing? If you produce something, most of the time you can ship that somewhere,
right,
right? Food's a little trickier. Obviously, food's not the easiest thing. There can be things that make it easier if it doesn't spoil, right? Like
right.
if it's in some kind of specific
Yeah, if it's
container, it doesn't.
non-perishable and stuff like that, for sure.
Right.
But I think even then, and I don't know the numbers on it. I mean, we could take a look at them, but even then, I think like online grocery ordering and grocery delivery and stuff like that, especially in the last 5 6 months, has seen a real huge spurt of growth, right?
Of
Because
course.
out of necessity, if nothing else.
Yeah. And just simplicity, right? Because you got to think
Yeah,
with the online grocery orders, people don't want to be in spaces. There's
right,
a lot of them.
right,
If they want to be in the grocery store with everyone else, they want cost.
right,
Fair enough. Underlying condition that can put you at risk, and you don't want to be in the public.
right.
Perfectly understandable. So yeah, those types of orders are surging. That's why Amazon has basically crushed their numbers in the last quarter. That's
Yep.
why almost anyone online. We have a graph, we have a picture that will actually we can show you that is essentially 10 years worth of growth in the last months. 10 years worth of growth in the last 3 months.
Three
I
months.
can't I like we're talking tens and tens and tens of billions of dollars, if not more, just in the last few months in terms of growth in the industry. Okay, that's more people selling online.
Yep.
That's Amazon and all the big players selling more than ever before, more than they would during Friday, Saturday, Monday, anything Christmas related. There's usually is where you see a spike in e-commerce sales,
Right.
right? But you're seeing it during pandemic, you're seeing it during recession because that's typical. People spend money when there's scarcity and there's fear because it makes them feel like they're not in that spot, right? They're not feeling
Yeah.
like they're drowning if they can buy things that make them feel better about it. It's just it always happens. It's cyclical, but now we've seen it more than ever before
Right.
with the pandemic. Could it be people are stuck at home and they're more you know, have to say, yeah, I'm going to buy something on Amazon.
I'm guilty, man.
Really?
I'm guilty.
Definitely a lot more people. So it's spiking. So to be
Yeah.
able, especially with businesses that might not be able to operate full capacity and the revenues are down because, again, people just don't really want to be out there as much in the
Hmm.
public.
Yeah. Retail
They have to
spaces, like as a
down.
whole, are
Yeah,
because of not just because of the restrictions, but because of fear and because of public well-being, are just flat out not busy. Right. Like these stores aren't packed. A, yes, because they can't be packed, but B, like not a lot of people are going out when they don't have to. When they don't need to go to Walmart and just kind of browse around and see what's there to pick up. You know what I mean?
exactly. So, and again, this ties into the local business.
Right.
It's a big thing now where companies, how do I get online? What do I
Right.
do? Right. So this is the perfect opportunity for a lot of businesses. It's not going to work for everyone, so I'm not going to get anyone's hopes up in this matter, but
Yeah, for sure.
if you have a product, there's a great chance that you can sell online
Yeah.
of some sort. It could be jewelry, it could be art that you do, crafts, different things that you put together. If you're in the product category, you can sell online.
Yes.
You can get a store up and you can sell around the world.
Yes.
And it can be done very simply.
Yep.
It's not as difficult as a lot of people think. I mean, you can sell around the world.
Yeah.
And Shopify is my favorite platform to use because it's one, it's a Canadian company.
Mm-hmm.
Two, they're tremendous growth, so they're always updating and tweaking, and their support's really good. So especially for someone that's not technical, if they're starting out, they can have a lot of advice that can help with that.
Yeah, I noticed.
And three,
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, and really, three, it's really simple. It's not complicated. You can have a store up within an hour, and literally take payments from people.
Yeah, in an hour. And so, and this is the thing, and this is what I was saying before, just before we had that little glitch there. Like Shopify, like this is great for me, right? Because my business is totally completely service based. So I don't use Shopify. For any of you out there who are wondering, it's not for me. And if you're service based, it's not for you either. But that being said, in preparation for our discussion today, I did like a good solid couple hours on their website.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Took a look at some of their tutorials and stuff like that. I was taking a look at some of the different shop themes and because there are hundreds of them. There are hundreds of them up there, and I watched a bunch of YouTube videos that were literally what you had just said, like set up your Shopify store in an hour.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like it looks so frigging easy.
Yeah. Now, for someone that's built dozens of these stores and have my own, I still have my own store that's up.
Right.
I haven't done anything with it in months. Like literally, it still has Christmas banners on. Still sold two T-shirts yesterday though, doing absolutely nothing. Right? I literally don't have to do a thing because of the system I have.
It's all
right
automated.
now. If I was making these T-shirts, that would be a different story. I'd be pressing them and having to get them into the packaging and ship them off.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing I think when you're doing e-commerce. Realize, make sure you understand your shipping, okay? Because it can be complex, and it can really hurt you if you don't have the calculations right. Like if you're shipping something big,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be expensive,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you really need to know what you're looking at in terms of the shipping costs,
Okay.
because you're going to have to factor that into your pricing, whether you increase the front end price and you have free shipping, or if you have a price maybe a little bit cheaper in terms of the product, but then you have to add on shipping.
Right, and that was a question that I was going to ask, like, because there are obviously situations in which, because and we've seen this, like, I mean, the data on this is freaking clear. Over 70% of online consumers, free shipping has a enormous impact on their willingness to buy.
100%, and just from my own experiences with my own stores,
Mm-hmm.
like I factored that in. I've done a lot of different shipping methods, really, in terms of how we did the model.
Okay.
So a couple would be, I give you three. Here's a couple that anyone can utilize potentially. Okay. So the first one is a weird one, but it does work. It's called free plus shipping. Okay. So for example, in this case, if your product is maybe $10, maybe under $15, what you could do is offer the product for free, but then you just pay shipping. Okay. So let's say that the product costs you, I don't know, $1, $2, $3 to make. Okay. And then you charge $7.99, $10.99 for the shipping,
Mm-hmm.
right? You should make your margin on the difference between what that product costs
Mm-hmm.
and how much it costs to ship something that small.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you can find a margin to make that work. Now, you're not going to make a lot of money on it, but the idea behind that method is you have someone that purchased. They might be more likely to buy something else too. So then you can offer them a product that's more expensive,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's still similar to what they're getting. So it lines up with their desire, their wants, whatever it is. It makes sense. Like it's a combo play, right? So that's what a lot of people try to do. That can work, and it can also not work very well. So you have to know how much your product costs. You have to know that down to a T.
Yeah.
So you make sure that you are making a margin.
Right.
And then whatever ad costs might be to get people to your site. So it's risky. And usually there's not a lot of gain front. It's usually on the back end you get growth in terms of revenue, extra revenue.
Right.
Okay. The other one obviously is you have a regular price and then you charge different shipping. So maybe they want expedited shipping for faster delivery. Maybe they want regular shipping, right? A lot of people in the consumer market, they want faster shipping. Obviously, Amazon has spoiled a lot of people, but don't let that deter you because it doesn't matter. I've had products that have taken a month to get people, and as long as you're clear in your messaging, that yes, craft things around the world, or it's custom made, it's going to take a little bit longer to get to you. You set those up front so people are aware, so there's no surprises. Minimize the amount of angry for not getting it. Okay, but you get different shipping options that way. Gives them some idea if they want it quicker, they'll pay for it. If not, they'll wait, right? And then the next one would be, the free shipping, which is what a lot of big companies do. Actually, there's one more after. But basically, free shipping is the most common.
Right.
Okay, and it is. Now, to tie into that, sometimes I like to incentivize free shipping. So you just don't automatically give someone free shipping. You want them to spend X amount of dollars in your store,
right,
and then they get free shipping.
Right.
And sometimes psychologically, that can be enough for people to be like, yeah, I'll spend $99 today because I got free shipping when I do. And sometimes if they're at that $70 mark, they're like, what can I add on to get to 99?
Also
and
guilty.
it'll actually improve your average order value.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, which will obviously improve your margins the more you're taking order, which is the key to e-commerce. Increase your average order value, improve your margin, increase the amount of money in your pocket. So if you can master that with whatever you're doing, you're going to be good because then it can be turnkey. It really can with stores. Like I said, I sold 2 t-shirts yesterday. That store is still selling stuff. I haven't done a thing with it. I haven't even opened it in months, right? It just, that payment will be processed. They'll get their shirts. The money, my cut of it will be in my bank.
Right.
That's how easy it can be for e-commerce. It really is. And let's say you don't have a product. A lot of people don't. You don't have a product. You can drop ship from different countries, right? And what drop shipping means is pretty similar to what I just talked about. Was you can set up with a supplier. Someone orders through your store. You send that information over to the company, right? The supplier that's going to fulfill and ship the product, and then they do the rest. They're going to send that out to the customer, and you're going to pay them whatever it is they tell you the cost is after the shipping.
Right.
Done. You make your margin on whatever you charge the customer.
Right.
Right. Sometimes it can be a lot. Sometimes it can be a couple bucks. Like it really depends. Right. And that way you just handle the order system. Right. Now there's things that you can allow you to automate that, like kind of like I have. Right. There's programs, apps on Shopify. If you look for it, you'll find it no problem because they have a lot of people that use them. Right. And they have good tutorials. Literally install it, add these products to your store. They're there.
Right.
Right. Someone can buy it. It'll notify the company automatically, and then you're gonna make your money off it.
Right. Yeah.
Simple. So you got to think like what type of business you have. Like let's say you have a yoga studio, you had something like that when you had your service fee. Okay. But you're like shit, I can't have anyone in. So what am I gonna do? You might have like your online classes and
right.
like that. But what if you were maybe to sell some yoga equipment? Right? Maybe you had a store for your business and you're selling yoga equipment. Right? So you can hit up all your customers that you already have if you're already going business.
I love that.
Right?
Yeah.
Go buy this yoga mat. Go buy these yoga clothes. Go buy this ball. Go buy this headband. Go buy this water bottle. I mean, whatever you think you can get, you can literally find a supplier online somewhere. Maybe it's from China.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to get a lower cost. Or maybe you find a supplier that is more high quality that can ship from maybe North America, right? You already become an affiliate. There's so many things that you can do, right? That you can add a little bit of extra income onto your business. Something can make sense for a lot of companies. And
That's exactly what you just triggered in me too, in talking about, setting up for your yoga studio like a store or something like that. Maybe there is a local manufacturer, and
yeah,
maybe there is somebody that you can partner up with, or that you can become an affiliate of. You could become an affiliate of, say, Lululemon or whatever. Um,
mm,
and and that's brilliant, because it's that is some real outside of the box thinking, when it's just like, well, shit, like COVID-19, like we've got all these restrictions, I can't run my business at full capacity. This is a great way to supplement some of your revenue, and to do it by the looks of it, and you can correct me, John, on this if I'm off base, but by the looks of it, with a fairly medium amount of maintenance, really.
yeah.
Like you
Oh
don't
my
have
God.
to put 30 hours a week into it to make it work.
No, and that's kind of the beauty of it. A lot of people do this on the side. Most of the people I know that have a store, they have a job.
Yeah,
There's very few that are just full time. I'm running my e-commerce stores.
right,
Like maybe 5% of the people I know in the space, that's all they do because they can generate $100,000 a month in store revenue,
right.
right? They built up to that point. It takes time, takes a year, 2 years to get to
Mm-hmm.
that level. A lot of ad spend, a lot of scaling, a lot of list building, a lot of just perfecting your systems and your processes and your automations, right? And that's what it's allowed them to do. They can automate that, so they
Mm-hmm.
can have more than one store, which is when you really start making it, right? But again, for all local friends, like, we don't anticipate any of you really developing multiple stores. It's like, how do you start that one
Yeah.
and get it out? But like I said, it's simple. And most of the side hustles I see, someone has some kind of e-commerce store, and some can make a couple $100, some can make thousands.
Right. But I think that's a really good point, because, I wasn't super aware of this either until you and I had just talked about it. But,
Yeah,
the whole drop shipping thing, and being able to operate, this revenue stream without having to have warehouse space, without having to have, like your own manufacturing, like you said, like pressing your own t-shirts and stuff like that. You can partner up with people to have that done for you. Everybody gets paid, everybody gets their cut, and you can, for all intents and purposes, almost completely automate the service. One of the things that I kind of wanted to ask you about, because this is one of the things that I read when I was going through some of the training material, was that idea of, regardless of what you're selling and how much you're selling and how little you're selling, but updating your inventory on at least a monthly basis is a really important thing to kind of do. But I don't really know what that does, other than, keeps your inventory fresh for your clientele. Like, does it do anything on the back end, I guess, is what I'm asking.
well, yeah, because I mean, if you're dealing with your own stock,
Yeah.
right, you're going to run into shortages, hopefully eventually enough.
Yeah.
So you have to know that if you need to acquire more stock of product A, and how long is that going to take to get to you?
Right.
Is there anything extra that you have to prepare to have it ready for the consumer,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or for you to ship it. So you have to know, if you're getting to a certain level, it's like, okay, I need to make another order because I know it takes 2 weeks for me to get this.
Right.
That's kind of what that's going to do. It's going to allow you to get a better understanding of it. But also something with Shopify, and I know other too, is when you set your inventory levels, say if you put five,
Sure.
sometimes you can show that there's only five left to the actual consumer on the front end, right? So it creates urgency. There's only
Yeah.
four of these left. If you want it, you might as well buy it now. But also, if it runs out, you can have out of stock, right? So, you can put your own messaging out there when that happens. But basically, if you run out of that inventory, it will update and show out of stock. So they can't buy it anymore, right? It gives you a little cushion in case a bunch of people buy it and you're like, oh man, I don't have any for 2 weeks. You're going to deal with refunds and all
Right.
not fun things that happen.
Right. And we were talking about that before, that idea, of being upfront, and setting those expectations up front, because one of the things that we've already talked about a lot is trust, right?
Yes.
And how important that has got to be for ecom, just as much as any other service or any other retail business. Like, that idea that your
100%.
policies are there, they are upfront. People know before they click checkout what to expect.
Yeah. Well, and that's the big thing with e-commerce stores is if you had to guess what the conversion rate was on a store,
Yeah.
like let's say 100 people come to that store, okay? How many people are buying something typically on
Oh,
average?
geez, like in a retail store, I'd say 20%.
20% in a retail store, but let's talk about an e-commerce store.
Okay.
How much do you think in an e-commerce store?
Oh, it would
100
be
people come, how many people buy?
2.
Yeah. Yeah. So typical conversion rates on the average store, 1 to 3%,
Right.
right? So 100 people come, 1 to 3 people might buy something,
Right.
right? So there's a lot of things that obviously come into play. You could have a lot of people add to your cart, right? They're almost there, but then something stops them along the way. They don't buy. Could be maybe surprise cost. All of a sudden, when they're ordering and they went to the next page, like they got bombarded with extra fees that they're like, ooh, like that doesn't look that good anymore. That happens a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
It will cause a huge drop off, right? But again, providing trust, providing social proof. Reviews are so big for stores. I made huge pushes on my store and everything I do because it doesn't matter what it is, a product or service.
Yeah.
People want to see reviews. They want to see other humans that have tried it or have done it before they make, especially if it's expensive, right? Or if it's something they're going to wear. It's like, is the quality good? Like, is there a negative here that I'm missing? Like, is it too short, too small, too tight, too big?
Yeah.
Especially for clothes, right?
Doesn't wash
If you
well.
have
Like, yeah, for sure.
on, like, because again, you buy stuff from Wish, right? I'm looking at it and like, okay, if I haven't bought clothes, which I have, I'm like, okay, so these are on the Asian sizes. They are. That's what they are. They're like the Asian sizes, but they're smaller than what the North American or the UK
Right.
would be. So you have to factor that in, right? So if someone in the reviews is like, it is too small, make sure you order the next size up, which happens a ton with almost any clothing that you can ship, just as an example, then it's important that you get that social proof because people are like, yeah, okay, I got to order medium. I feel secure. They loved it. I just need to order medium. That's good. And then everything else is good. There's no surprise. It's perfect. I have the payment option that I want. Perfect. And they're usually good. Okay. So what we like to do in the e-commerce space, just through Shopify, is we like to do basically retargeting the people that are leaving without buying. Okay. So you
Do
can
you
do
mean
this
like?
with shopping.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so you can do this with your shopping cart, right? So you can add options to your store. So if someone does go to the checkout, but they bounce, something scares them away. You can hit them up with an email. You can hit them up with an SMS message. You can hit them up in Messenger. There's different ways that you can then say, hey, you left this in your cart. Do you want to finish your purchase?
Yeah.
And that works a lot more to get more people to be like, oh yeah, and go and do it.
Yeah, that was the first thing that I noticed when I looked through the apps on Spotify the other night was the abandoned cart.
Abandoned carts, it's huge. It's like I use one called Recart, and I've used a couple other that basically will send them an SMS. SMS, you'll get a text message. If you don't order, be like, hey, you forgot this. And then if you don't respond to that in 7 hours or even 24 hours, you can set it different.
Yeah.
I'll be like, hey, still here, still in your cart, but how about I give you 10% off? Or like whatever.
Right, yeah.
And they're like, oh, maybe that's what I want, or free shipping, or whatever you want to do, but you have to order it now. So then, okay, cool. I go back, order. You'll get more people, coming back to your store and finishing order. So there's all sorts of little things that improve that 1% conversion,
Right.
which ultimately you want to get up to 5 to 10. Between 5 and 10, you're really starting to look like you're in a good position. Right. And then you scale your business.
Yeah, of course. And so let's talk a little bit more about like getting to that 5 to 10 margin, because obviously one of the big things here, and I'm sure you probably know lots about this inside and out, is keywording. Keywording has got to be like, and keyword optimization, SEO optimization, all of that stuff has got to be so friggin' important for your e-com store. It's got it's got to play such a critical role.
Yeah, and in the world of e-commerce, it's a lot different. Say like a local business selling a, right? It's a lot different in terms of how you rank, but it is extremely important on how you describe your products.
Okay.
The keywords should be in there. Should understand exactly what that item is, and it's important to know what people are searching for.
Do you mean
right?
that like a
Shoes.
T-shirt should be tagged as T-shirt, that kind of thing?
Yeah, or even more specific. It's a specific type of t-shirt,
Okay.
right? Maybe someone's looking for a V-neck, right? So they might be looking for a V-neck t-shirt. And if they are, it's going to be more relevant to that search. So this t-shirt,
Right.
it's not a V-neck. So there's things like that you have to look at. That, but also you have to think, you can't just put V-neck because there's going to be a million stores that are putting V-neck. You will never have an opportunity ever to be able to rank that. I'm just telling you right now, don't waste your time thinking you can do it. T-shirt, black T-shirt, but you're not going to ever be found for black T-shirt. Like it's not going to happen.
Right.
Saving you a lot of time and but you have to be more discreet. Like look, like for example, this T-shirt, this because it's the easiest thing we can talk about right now.
Yeah.
Is a Toronto Raptors Eastern Champions T-shirt, right?
Yeah.
So if I were to put Toronto Raptors Eastern Conference Champion black T-shirt, wouldn't that make more sense to a relevant search?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So that's when we're talking about getting specific into what the product is. Now you don't have to go crazy. You don't need a report card up for a title in terms of everything you can throw into it.
Okay.
You just have to be short and to the point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And in your product descriptions, your URL, and different elements of your page should have that in there as well. That keyword that you want to focus in on. That image that you're using to show, and you should have an image, I hope, on your store for whatever you're selling. You can also tag it, right? With its own name, its own alt tag. And there's apps in Shopify that can do that automatically for you based on like the title that you put in. So there's a lot of great, easy tools that help with that.
Okay.
So that's a huge component. Yes, every store needs a very well done description that isn't just a line. You should really describe your product that you're selling. Okay. Now we want to create blog content, and this is another topic we'll talk about.
Sure.
There's a lot of factors that get your store actually ranking the product you're selling.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of work. It's grinding it out. It's creating content. It's utilizing social media too. You get it like you need a marketing mixer.
Right.
Right? You got to utilize, having everything right with the search engine, Facebook, and other direct types of platforms that can get this immediately in front of someone.
Sorry, you said
right?
Facebook and other kind of like direct platforms? Okay, sorry, you just cut out there for a sec.
Sorry,
That's
Facebook
cool.
and like Instagram, are really good for e-commerce because it's visual and showing people and getting in the right.
Yeah, Instagram's insane for it.
Yeah. And people, again, there's so many things we can talk about. But as a general sense, e-commerce is the right marketing mix of things you can do.
Right.
Okay? You're building a network. One key element that really works for e-commerce is building like a Facebook page and a Facebook group, right? Make it cause. Have something that, the Facebook group doesn't have to be XYZ business. It can be something related to your niche, right? It can be related to. So if it's camping, it's like Campers United, right?
Yeah.
You could be selling camping clothes or T-shirts or survival equipment, right? You can build up groups and stuff over time, and then you can start offering it to the people in the group. I've seen that work like crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you an example. 2 years ago, and it was in November, so it was like right before Christmas time. I went into a hockey group. Okay, because my store is hockey. I sell hockey type of apparel. Okay. So there was posts in there, and there's probably 20,000 people in these groups. There's a lot. So I made a post, simply saying I showcased my product. I was like, we're doing a special offer. Just type, I'm in, and I'll DM you a wicked promo code. Okay, and I think it was like 40% off, something crazy. Right, it was something really big that made it a no-brainer. So I made a post in a group, right? Facebook hockey was like hockey millions, right? And then all of a sudden I just had ding, 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 ding. I want it. Like 30 people.
Yeah.
Okay? So I would be like, DM you your code. And then people would be like, wait, I want my code. So people would just see it and it would just like double up and all, right?
Like wildfire.
So I was like, oh, code sent. And then people were just like, wait, whoa, I want my code. We made $5,000.
Wow.
I need $5,000 messaging people for an hour. Here's the code, here's the code, here's the code, here's the code. So it's like there's so many things you can do.
Yeah.
And you're not limited to what you might think is out there that you haven't even explored yet, right?
Yeah.
Facebook, you're like, oh, but maybe there's ads, maybe there's, well, Facebook groups are huge. I make more money in Facebook groups than anything. So whether I could sell my services,
Yes. Yeah.
I can sell products. You can sell anything. People are going to buy. You got to think like you're in a group of like-minded people or people that are in your consumer market, right? What do they want? Oh, they might want services. Cool, that might line up with. Ooh, they want these types of products. They might love it.
Yep. This
right?
is it. This is it.
So I mean, there's so many avenues online. So if you think you can't make the store happen, it's that you got to realize there's a lot of opportunity space that you can take advantage of. Any business can really. So I can't stress it enough. If you think you can get online, do it. It's not that hard.
Yep.
And it could really help your business, especially if you're dealing with a downtime.
Yeah. Do you think that it would be good advice to say that, like, you know, if this is something that you're going to do, right? Because you have the options. You have the options of doing it yourself. You have the options of, hiring a developer to do it for you as well. I'm not 100% savvy on what their costs look like, but really, like, would it be good advice to say that, you know, if you're going to do this kind of thing, you know, start slow. Like, don't try to add a whole store of 400 products day one.
Yeah.
You know, go bit by bit. Do like 25 a day, say.
Even 25 is a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
I honestly would say, like, I would say at minimum, because like you think we're MVP, you don't have to have.
Right.
So don't expect everything to be perfect from day one, and I advise you not to do it that way.
Yeah.
Because it's not the smart way of doing it. But I would simply advise you start with one product. So find that one that you're like, I know people like this. Maybe you have a past history where people buy it up locally like crazy.
Yeah.
So get that one thing up there first. You think it's like, I know if other people that aren't here, they like it. They'll want it.
Yeah.
Try with one. Get that set up. Get all that information in place. Make it look nice. And then over time, you can start gradually adding more products. It doesn't take much at all to add stuff to the store. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But, you know, like when you're just starting out, you don't have to go crazy. Okay. Now, would I advise people to get the store done professionally? Yes, I would. And I'm not saying you can't do it on your own, because you can, and you can watch tutorials. But here's the thing you have to think about too. You're in e-commerce space. You're probably going to have competition.
Yes.
And it's a lot more vigorous, a lot more of them than there would be in your local period.
Yes.
Okay? So the key comes down to how you can differentiate yourself to make you stand out, to make someone say, I'm impressed. Because you have to impress people more than ever on an e-commerce store than you would on a local business.
Right.
I'm just telling you right now. I've dealt with a lot of generic stores where you have a thing, and then it's just products. That's it. They just like have a couple products down, but there's nothing else to signify your brand, your image, who you are, what's your mission, why should I trust you? So having a developer put together the store to make it look branded, beautiful, you know, the amount of time it's gonna take for you to learn all that is substantial. Because you got to learn the graphic design stuff. There might be a tiny bit of coding you have to do to get things precise.
That's it.
And if you don't have those skills or backgrounds, your store is not going to look that appealing. And if your store doesn't look that appealing, I can tell you right now, I've never bought from a store that didn't look appealing.
Yes.
If the half-asses of explaining, like just generic looking, I've never bought anything from it. Right. Because I don't trust. There's no trust with me built up with that as a professional store. Can you get them cheap? You can get them cheap. They can start at $600. Okay. They could go up to a couple thousand. It depends how many products that you're looking to put in place and how much, you know, maybe extra things you need on that store to make it really work. Custom stuff, right? If you don't need that, it's not so bad. If you only have one or a couple products, it can be on the cheaper side. So it's not thousands of dollars. Okay, it can be done for a relatively decent price. Like that's kind of where we are when we charge for e-commerce sites. Yeah, it starts at about $500, and then it goes up probably about $2,000. Would be our normal rates between that. Yeah, right. If you have 150 products, it's going to cost you probably $2,000. Because we're going to edit it, we're going to make sure that it sounds good, that people will actually like, oh, I'm going to buy. Because at the end of the day, you have to have those in place. You might not know the verbiage or the keywords that can be utilized in it. So if you can find a developer that can make your store look great, it's optimized for SEO, and it's optimized to help your conversion rate, then then it's definitely worth to invest in, because it's going to save you months of trying to figure it out all yourself and going through all that, which can make a big difference.
It can. And listen, like I'm going to expose myself here a little bit. Like I can speak from some experience here, in that I myself tried to put together my own website, and I spent a month and a half learning CSS. And I'll tell you right now that the Frankenstein that I came out with, that was my website, was pathetic. And now, I mean, like, it's not to say that somebody can't learn how to do CSS and do their own website, but I think what you had said right there, John, is so important. The time that it's going to take you to do this, and to get it to a point where all your branding is straight, where your alt tagging is straight, where your metas are straight, all your keywording is straight, your SEO optimization is straight. Like, there are a lot of components on the back end that are really what's going to make or break that, you doing 1%, 2% conversion up to that 5-10% conversion, and actually like kind of competing. Because like you said, there are a lot of ships in that sea. And I think one of the things that I took away personally when I looked at this the other night was, if I were to do this, if I were in the position where I was setting up a retail store, I would hire a developer to do it for me and to work with me on it. Basically because I've got other business functions that I'm responsible for as a sole prop, right? So
for sure,
and I realized this in the month of June, like, I don't have time to learn all the things that I want to learn, to do it all myself. And really, like, finding that right person for you and that right developer for you might take some doing. I know Shopify has like a connect with developers option, or a find a developer option, but like there are people in your local area. There's Social Spike Media, who does this kind of stuff, and they do it well because that's their bag, right? And that's their job. That's what they're there to do. And it frees you as an owner or as a founder or whatever up to do all of the other crap that you have on your plate.
And the biggest thing is, I know people always look at the cost of things.
Yes.
Right. And again, it's not an expense; it's an investment in your business, in your life. Period. Okay. But you have to look at not what it might cost you to build something, but what the cost is to not build it.
Yeah.
What's the lost opportunity cost?
Yeah.
Right. And I say this a lot, especially with the local business when it comes to websites. Now I deal with companies, painters, and I ask painters, like, well, how much is a job to you? They're like, well, usually minimum is like $3,500. Like, okay, that's significant revenue, right? Now imagine if no one can find you because you didn't set up everything right. Imagine if 20 people a month can't find you, but want your business, but will never know about you because you haven't set up things right. Multiply those 20 potentially by $30,000, $3,500. That's a lot of money. That's what I tell and stress on businesses. It costs you $1,000 to build. Okay, but if that can help you get to a position where you end up making 10, 20, 30, maybe more, $1,000 a month because it's done correctly, that $1,000 looks pretty tiny.
Straight up. Yeah, straight up.
So that's the big thing. The trade-off is when people tell you to make money, you got to spend money. I mean, it's either time or money. And if you're going to do all the things that a professional is going to do, you're going to have to spend hours. Imagine someone trying to be like, okay, John, I'm going to build a website, and I'm going to build a chatbot, and I'm going to do SEO. I was like, good luck. That took me 6 years to learn. Yeah. To be able to do any of those things in a sense that I could do, like, to sell it to someone, right?
Right.
Now, that doesn't mean that it's the case across the board, but, like, I know how much work I put into it. Like, thousands of hours to do all these things.
Right.
Thousands of hours. Now, if you were to try to duplicate that, be like, okay, I'm going to set myself on doing it with my time.
Mm-hmm.
You're a busy business owner. You're probably minimum working 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
If you're doing a lot more,
Yep.
right? You know, just like I do.
Yeah.
So where do you have the time to learn this? Where are you going to do it in your sleep? It's tough, and that's where I think people come. The biggest issue is so then they go on, say, go at it, throw something up within 5 minutes, and it just stays there for a year, 2 years, and nothing happens.
Mm-hmm.
They get some referrals, they have friends, and they kind of slowly build up, but that website's doing jack shit for them.
Right.
Right? Because it wasn't set up properly, they're not investing in the right things to get people funneling through.
Right.
So then you have a constant flow, your pipeline's building up. And that's why I always tell any new person that, I speak with in terms of consultancy or services is what's your dream,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where do you see your business going? And then what would you do if you had too many customers? What would you do? I talked to you about that the other day. What would you do if you had too many customers? You couldn't deal with them all.
No, and I love that, and I love that question because you're right. Like specifically in my situation, and I think in a lot of other service provider situations, when we have too many customers, we have to pass the buck. We don't have a choice, right? Because like this person wants their service, they don't want to wait 2 months for me to be freed up. They want their service, right? And yeah, no, I like it's. I love the way I love that question because I've been asking myself it constantly since we were talking about it the other day. It's like, what would you do? What would you do with too many customers? How would you deal with that?
Right. So that's where I like to get people's mindset is, you're going to be spending money on something, but your potential return on it could be astronomically larger.
Yeah.
And you have to focus and learn and see if that makes sense for you. Right. Now, obviously, every business is different. A local business is different from the e-commerce.
Right.
Right. But they fundamentally come down to the same principles is you need to have something that's attractive that people are going to say, I trust you. They have to, it doesn't matter if they're buying a service. They have to say, I trust you.
Yeah.
Because they're either going to give you their credit card or they're going to want to have a conversation with you. They're utilizing their time and saying, like, who write for me? It's like you're getting interviewed.
Right.
Right? Like you have to find the right fit. And not everyone's going to fit for each side, but you have to have a conversation. But if you don't build that trust and you haven't led them to the point where they're going through your site, they're impressed by it. They're like, no, it's terrible. Things aren't working right and it's all dysfunctional. Your trust level's going down. So the more you do that keeps building that bad trust. If your site's incredibly slow, losing trust. You have no reviews, social proof, you're losing trust. You have a little to no text explaining what the fuck you do, you're losing trust. So it doesn't matter if you're selling a product or a service. If you're losing trust all across the board, you're not getting the business. If you're not appeasing Google by having the right structure and doing the right things, they're not going to show you. Okay? Right. They're not going to show you in front of people who are looking for what you're providing.
Right.
So you're a painter, you make $3,500 on a project. How much are you losing out by not investing in your business?
Right.
Right. What's your opportunity cost? They're going to your competitors now because they found your competitor when they're doing a search.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and
I mean that's just how it works.
It's it. But one of the things that I did want to touch on really quickly before we wrapped up the e-com conversation was obviously like a lot of what we're seeing right now during COVID-19 and things like that. One of the things that I have kind of noticed or that I've sort of observed as being a bit of a boon in that we have this technology now and that we have e-commerce is that your local mom and pop shop can still oftentimes send their product to a rural area for not that much more than it would cost somebody to go into their actual retail store and purchase it. And I think that's like I think that's wonderful because one of the things, like obviously some of the growth that we're seeing right now, a lot of the growth we're seeing right now is as a result of the restrictions that have been put in place. But I don't see it going anywhere. Like I don't see that curve dropping right back off. Do you know what I mean? I think people are finally building trust with online shopping.
Yeah, and it's the people that weren't accustomed to doing it that are now like, wow, I can spend 2 minutes just do on my phone, and I can have that thing shipped to me in 2 days,
Yeah.
and I don't have to do a damn thing. I don't have it. Like, you got to think of how many people don't like people, right? Don't want to be around people,
Yeah.
and especially when there's a pandemic and you're looking at everyone, oh my god, gross. Like, you know what I mean? And there's
Yeah.
so many that they're like, I can just order anything I want online, and it will come to me 2 days, like, or whatever. Like, it's simple. So of course more people, now that they're stuck inside, they're bored,
Yeah.
they're gonna be like, oh, I need that Nintendo Switch. I need like I'm gonna buy a new coach set just because I'm gonna be sitting my ass in here. So like people are looking for everything, and that's why it's going crazy. And yeah, more people are adopting it.
Yep.
And I think a lot, if you go through the stats, you'll probably see a lot of an older generation doing it too, because now they're adapting to new technology. They're realizing how easy things are, and they're like, damn, like why would I put more strain on myself? Like, I mean, I'm not that old. I don't want to put strain on myself. So if I can make something, if I can get something, make something simple, you're damn right I'm going to have a look at it, right?
Yeah.
So that's what's going on. More people are adapting. You can make a simple order on your phone, on your computer, whatever you want. But yeah, mom and pop stores, they can definitely sell their
Yeah.
products, anywhere in the world. You can expand your market. You can imagine what your business could do if you're really successful locally, right? You have a specific product that you're selling. Like, there's a good chance, other than if it's just like made in the Maritimes or like Halifax specific. If you're just in your city, it's going to be a little bit tougher, but you can still make some orders.
Yeah.
But if you have something that a global audience might say, I really like that,
Mm-hmm.
then you open yourself up to a lot of potential. You can end up doing way better. And I've seen this where a stationary, business, a brick and mortar, has
Mm-hmm.
done 3 times better than they did in their setup in their brick and mortar store,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they end up shifting everything over to e-commerce because why wouldn't you? They save all that money in terms of the whole facility
Oh,
that they
for
have to pay
sure.
loads of money for,
Yeah.
and then they can easily do it another way. And people, like I said, if you can reduce your costs big time and you can focus your efforts there instead and make way more money, even grow beyond that. That's what they're seeing. And they realize, like, if you can have a global market, you can be extremely successful
Yeah.
with your. I mean, it opens a lot of doors, and our governments, they're trying to get more and more people to do it and
Mm-hmm.
focus on technology, focus on exporting and digital marketplaces. Like, they know that it's going to be huge, and they want more people to be aware of it. And I think, I'd love to teach more and more people how to do it and how to get involved in it because it's not that hard. I mean, it's not that hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a big thing what people have to overcome is I think they get overwhelmed by how any of it would even work. But like I said, when you get into it, you can make it happen. One way or another, you can make it happen.
Yeah, for sure. And like you had said before, and I think it's worthy to kind of flip back on this really quickly. Is, guys, there's tons of support out there. There's not just the Shopify tutorials that are on their website, and you can find them on YouTube. There's LinkedIn Learning, lynda.com. They've got lots of information on it and stuff like that. And not even so much that, but like there are companies, right? There are companies that specialize in setting up and administering your e-com store. And they are, I mean, they're arguably your largest support piece in that game, right? If if you're new to this and you've got no idea what you're doing, like, these are the people who you're going to want to connect with to, to really, to get it done and have it really have an impact. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's crazy because I know we had talked about it a bunch before our conversation today, and before you had sent me that little data sheet, which I am going to throw up here actually, so people can take a quick look at it before we close out the video. But not just the amount of growth in the last 3 months, but just when you look at the growth graph overall, like you can see even if not for COVID-19, this has been picking up momentum for a while.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah. It's a straight curve. It's just a straight slope,
right,
right?
right.
Until recently, when it just gone crazy. So
Like a bent.
that's a sign. That's a sign. Consumer behavior is changing, right?
Yep.
They're adapting to the online model. They want things easier. Their attention spans less.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're realizing, like I don't have to leave my home ever if I decide to.
Yeah.
Like it's becoming a big thing. So, like I said, if you can take advantage of it, or you're in a place where that kind of makes sense, definitely look into it. I think at least have at least do some research to see if it's viable for you.
Yeah.
If you have a decent product that's been selling really well that you think other people will like, you probably have a good chance.
Yeah.
Like you probably have a good chance. There's a lot of unique things out there that can reach markets that would shock you,
You're right.
right? Like you can sell things over. You can even sell things to China. Like if you make something here, you can sell things to Asia, right?
Yep.
China, Japan,
Yep.
Taiwan, Malaysia, like all these places. Like there's markets for things too in these places too. Like they love stuff coming from over here.
Especially like
And
curios and handicrafts and stuff like that.
yeah, for sure. Like so your market can be really big. It's just researching to see who you think and where you can get this out to.
Yeah.
But honestly, like if you think you have an opportunity, you think you have an item that could do well in the market, I would say really, really look into it or start having conversations of what that might entail,
Yeah.
with someone that knows. Because like I talk with a lot of businesses
Yep.
and I've told people, no, it's not a good idea. I wouldn't recommend it. It's not viable for you. I've told a lot more businesses that I have said, yes, I think it is,
Interesting.
and this is what you should do. Yeah, I mean, again, it comes down to price points too.
Yeah.
How are you going to hire people? Are your margins good or are they really thin? If you
Yeah.
have thin margins on something, it's really tough.
You're right.
Okay, it's tough. Okay, so if you have good margins, you think you can make work, shipping makes sense.
Right.
You think there's a market outside of your own community, and you can build it up. Then yeah, then there'll be strategies on how you make that really work. But
Gotcha.
like I said, it doesn't work for everything.
Uh-huh.
There's trends too that fall. So if you might have something that was trending before, but now no one cares about it, and then it might not make sense,
Right.
right? Like I don't know, like a sham wow. Like no, like if you were trying to pitch sham wows now, people would be like, no, that fad's right. The trend. It was trending, boom,
Right.
crazy. Everyone wanted a sham wow or a slapshot. Now no one cares, right? So
I
if you can get you know what I'm saying?
I know
So you have to
exactly
make sure
what
you're on the
you're
right business growth projection
Right.
for that type of product or whatever it is
That's
you're
it.
offering, because you can flop hard too. So I'll tell people, like, that doesn't make sense right now, or that product probably would be a tough sell. Like I'm transparent because I don't want people to invest only to have zero success with something, right?
Yeah.
So
And it's hard to tell somebody whose margins are literal cents on a dollar that this is going to work for them. Right? Like it's that's a tough position to put somebody in. And I don't have a whole hell of a lot more to I don't have a whole hell of a lot more to add to that piece. But with that being said, I really appreciate your expertise on this. So thank you, because I spent a couple hours with it, just kind of trying to figure out and get prepped and just so we could actually have a discussion about it, really. But
sure.
but really, like I appreciate you sharing your knowledge base, not just with me, but with all of our viewers as well. And really, like, it's some solid advice, man. Really appreciate that.
And that's kind of what we're trying to do with the boost and this whole video podcast program we're going to be doing. It's just we all have experiences, and we're going to have guests with other experiences that can help small businesses get a better idea of how to do certain things, right?
Yeah.
So if you had the inclination that maybe e-commerce could be a way for you, hopefully that led to some more conversation that you can have to figure out how you're going to start that if you do want to. And we're going to do that for a lot of things that are going to be helpful for small businesses to get them more insight, more knowledge, more information, which is key to any business. So it doesn't matter. I listen to stuff like this all the time from other people, things, so I can get better in different areas. So if we can provide insight that's going to help your business, that's our real goal.
That's it. And likewise, that whole wheel is driven by feedback. So, leave your comments in the comments section. Get in touch with us. let us know. Was there anything that we didn't touch on that you know about that you think is important to this? We can always add some errata at another time, because I'm sure Shopify is like, this is not going to be the first time we talk about e-commerce, or the last time
And
rather.
I'll probably bring on another guest here on Ecom too.
That's a great idea.
That has even more beyond. So I'm going to hunt them down and get them on too, because like I said,
Great.
I'm just telling. This is the tip of the iceberg. Like there's guys that will tell you more about Facebook ads and how, like, for them to be successful, they had to spend a lot of money on ads to get to a certain point to generate their list and everything, right? So there's a lot of people we can possibly bring on to have more in-depth conversations. So if you want to know more about e-commerce, Shopify, things like that, then we can definitely provide more in-depth information on specific things relevant. 100%.
Yeah, so leave your comments there in the comment section, guys, or shoot us an email, and we'll definitely include those, because that's like you said, John, that's what this is all about. Just trying to put our network to work, really. And
exactly.
But again, thanks so much for your time today, buddy. I really appreciate it. I know everybody out there does as well. It was a great chat. So thanks again.
Likewise, man. Have a good long weekend. Don't
party you
too.
No, man, never. No, I'm too old for that crap now. But we'll chat at you here next week.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah,
Look
cheers,
forward to it.
Take care.
You got it.